Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Friday afternoon here in the Eastern Time Zone of the USA. It is 20 Zulu on July 19th, 2024, and this is the weekend special. This is a show where we have various topics from various people all around the world talking about activities pertaining to amateur radio. Today, we have Mark, WC3W. He is the director of the DX Marathon program. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Tim.
It's great to have you on here. Mark, why don't you give everybody a little background, just a brief background on yourself, and then we'll get into the DX Marathon.
Sure thing. First of all, thank you, Tim, for having me on as a guest. You've given so much to this hobby, and my involvement in the DX Marathon, quite frankly, after I retired, is give something back to this wonderful hobby for which I've been involved in for 61 years. I was born and raised in Peoria, Illinois. I went over to a friend's house when I was in grade school, and her father actually worked for Caterpillar Tractor Company, and he called me down to his basement, and he was a ham radio operator, and he got on the radios and started operating, and I was hooked. I was hooked right away. And not only was I hooked to get my license, but in just a few years, I knew really what my direction in life was, and that was to become an electrical engineer, which I did. And then I had a wonderful career working for only 3 companies, mainly in the power generation business. And I retired about 5 years ago. I was an executive vice president for a large company. I got involved in the marathon program through a friend of mine who co-founded the Northern Illinois DX Association club, a large DX club. John Sweeney, K9EL. I met him at a couple Hamfests, and I was participating in DX Marathon for about 7 years, and I learned that he was hanging up his cleats. So I gave him a call, and I said, John, what are you doing? I love this program. He says, Mark, I'm burnt out. He did it for 17 consecutive years. And I talked to him for about 5 minutes. I asked him, what's involved? I want to get involved in giving back to the hobby. And after about 5 minutes, I said, wait a minute, John. I'm retired and I'm trying to build some serenity into my life. I said, this is a full-time job.
Hey, Mark, did you change something with your microphone? Your audio got bad here.
I did not, but let me check.
That's better right there. Don't touch it. You're fixed again.
Okay. So I told John, I said, John, I don't think I can do it. So I thought about it for about a week, and I called him back and I said, I was in industry. I started a few companies, and I said, how about if we delegate some of all these tasks and responsibilities that you were doing by yourself? And make a long story short, we did just that. We wrote some job descriptions, and here we are.
Yeah, so Mark, let's get right into it. Let's get into the DX Marathon. I'm going to bring up your website and give us a little bit of what's going on now, and what should guys be concentrating on. Here we are, July of 2024. How can they participate?
Great question. First of all, there's no sign up for the program. Anybody that happens to be listening to this podcast is in it right now. If you've got a radio and an antenna and a logging program, and you've been working DX, you are in the program. So really what you want to do is go to this website. My IT manager and I just did a brief video. In fact, it's under latest news right there, submission video tutorial. And watch that, and you'll see how easy it is to take that log that you have, generate an ADIF file, and upload that log directly to our site here. The program starts in January, and it ends December 31st every year. It's why we kind of call it a marathon. You can go on vacation. You can work DX whenever you want. You just accumulate it, and you see what you have at the end of the year. And then the clock restarts the following January. So there's no cost involved. There's no multipliers. There's 340 DXCC entities. To that, we add 6 of the WAE, Work All Europe entities. So there's 340 entities plus 40 CQ zones, and you get 1 point for every one of those that you work. We just add them up, and then you can compare yourself against others around the world. About a third of our program is US, about 2/3 is international. We've grown at 50% over the last 2 years in participation. And it's very simple. It's fun. It's simple. We don't call it a contest. We call it a program, but we do have a lot of recognition plaques and certificates that you can qualify for. And all of this is on this website that Tim has up here.
Yeah. So there's, are you seeing the list of the plaques there, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of awards. I mean, this is a ton of awards.
We've got about 30 plaques and 130 certificates. And I am right now studying for the 2025 program. We haven't touched the award system in 17 years. And I'm saying, what is my vision? My vision, we're about 2,000 participants now. We've doubled the program or grow it by 50% in the last 2 years. In the next 2 years, I want to be at 4,000 to 5,000. So I'm looking now at attracting more people into the program. And one of the ways we're doing that, I'm looking at potentially adding another 20 to 25 plaques and maybe another 70 certificates in different categories to make it very enticing for folks to get in the program.
Wow. And Mark, are you seeing the graph charts there?
Yes, sir.
So the logs received, I think this is a testament to your involvement. If I look at 2020 and then go all the way to 2023, I mean, you almost had 2,000 logs last year.
That is correct, Tim. That is correct. And, you know, we talked a little bit before the program, for the folks that are watching here, my greatest challenge is to explain what this program is and reach out and get visibility. I did 70 Zoom meetings last year, and I swear I bet 50 to 40 to 30, 70% of the people in clubs did not even know of the DX Marathon program, even though it's been around for 17 years. So once you figure out how to do it, how simple it is to do it, you can continue to participate in DXCC. You can do contests. Tim is a phenomenal contester with his stations and everything. I'm reaching out to youth. I've got a YL overlay as well for this year. It's just fun. It's just a lot of fun with very little overhead and zero cost.
That's the great thing about it. It's fun. And, I see a photo here of our friend Bob Loker, W9KNI, who was one of the people that really was a proponent of the DX Marathon and helped to create it along with K2MGA. So a lot of really great people involved, and you can have as much fun as you want in this program. How do you fund all the plaques and the shipping and all the things that go along with that?
Another great question, Tim. We're very low budget. I've got 5 people on my board of directors, not my board, my operating staff. I do have a board of directors, by the way. W9KNI is on my board. I go to him a lot. I go to John Sweeney. He's still on my board. And then I have some other people. How do we fund the program? Basically, wonderful clubs, wonderful individuals contribute to the plaques. The plaques, to fund a plaque, it costs $100, and that takes care of the plaque cost plus the transportation. We generate the certificates ourselves. There's no cost to that. We do all that on our computers. But other than that, we have no real funding. We do have a PayPal link on our website for people that want to throw in $5 to $10. We as administrators do have costs. And so I don't want any of my people to have to reach into their own pockets to make the program. They're working 20 hours, 30 hours a week. Okay. What I just also mentioned to Tim is we're looking at really expanding the program and growing it. My main need in that area is and most of that will come internationally. So I have people, I've been advisory board international, and they want me to send them stuff so that they can take to their local ham fest and that thing. But that costs a lot of money, and we don't have that kind of budget. So we are, within probably a month or two, we will be a 501c3. I have applied for that. And that way, perhaps people can give on a tax-free basis to help us. And our growth, I think, will be limited by how much we can actually reach out and touch hams. There's 2.75 million hams in the world and 750,000 in the U.S. And if you look at our numbers, we've just touched such a few right now. And so that's basically how we fund it. So Northern Illinois DX Association, many clubs. It's on the website. I list and recognize every single contributor because we are so grateful to them, and we would not have a program without our very generous contributors. Individuals as well. One of my friends down here in the South Florida DX club, he was involved in. He wanted to sponsor a youth, and 2 years ago I created a youth plaque, and he wrote me out a check. He said, "Mark, I'm sponsoring." So anybody can sponsor.
No, that's great news. And there's lots of information on the DX Marathon website. So go there, and if you don't get your question answered there, you can certainly email to Mark. Mark, I want to look at the chat room and make sure if we have any questions here. We have W3MLJ from near Pittsburgh on. Young Michael, nice to see you. XE2 Zulu from Mexico. And our friend Jim, KB8N, is up in Ann Arbor, Michigan today. Out on the West Coast, it's KA3DRR. And we also have from Germany, Delta Lima 6 Radio Delta Echo. And we've got Marco on here, India November 3 Uniform Fox Whiskey. And Frank is on, Kilo 5 Fox Juliet Alpha in Mississippi. And our friend Dan, WA4 Mike Oscar Mike, down in Kentucky. In the Netherlands, it's Papa Echo 2 Kilo. And from Argentina, Lima Uniform 1 Fox India Victor. So we are definitely getting the word out around the world, Mark. And so here we are in July. You still got a lot of time left to participate in the 2024 marathon, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Exactly. You're in it right now. If you've got a log and you got a radio and you're operating DX, you are in it.
Well, that is great news. Mark, I want to thank you so much for your dedication to this program and for giving back to amateur radio and for all you do with your board of directors, with your advisors, and with all the contributors to this program. It's just exceptional to find out, that something like this exists. And KA3DRR asks about what modes does this happen on. Of course, that's on the website too, but go ahead and tell them, Mark.
You bet. Our mode participation is one of the most popular. If you're a CW operator, you can enter in CW only. If you are a phone operator, you can enter in SSB. If you are a digital operator, which includes FT8 and RIDI and all the other digital, you can enter only based on that mode. My favorite mode of operation is CW. I'm part of the CW Ops program, and they sponsor 3 of the plaques, Top US, Top World, and Top Europe, and they just added another one at my suggestion. And that was within the CW Ops family. There's 3,500 members. We are going to issue a plaque for the top CW Ops performer in our program.
That sounds great, Mark. And it just shows the creativity and the fact that you're very nimble and able to do these things. Also want to recognize Andrew Victor 51 Yankee Juliet, a rare multiplier, checking in with us today. Well, Mark, thanks again. We'll have you on soon. We want an update. We want you to grow And we want to see you be really successful with this program, because it is all about having fun with the best hobby in the world.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. Go to the website, send me an email personally. I got a lot of help, and I would just like to put a plug in for Tim. W6IZT, Greg, many of you know him. I have participated in his rib operation, and he's got a DX marathon, or a DX venture in Rotuma coming up. And I called Greg today because I said, "Hey, is DX Engineering sponsoring you?" And his words was, he said DX Engineering was one of their most significant corporate sponsors. So I want to thank Tim and his organization, because he's in there on all these DX ventures. And you know, without that kind of funding, these things wouldn't happen. And you're giving a lot back as well, Tim, and I thank you for that and your organization.
Thank you very much, Mark. And thanks to all of you for watching today. Hope you had fun. Get on the air this weekend and enjoy this great hobby. Until next week, 73 from DX Engineering.